Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight, and my guest he's a filmmaker, a writer, and director, Loren W. Lepre. How's it going, Loren?
How's it going, friend? I'm happy to be here. I hope all is well in your world.
I hope so, too. So what have you been up to lately?
Well, as of last night, I just released my follow-up Dark Military film. This is a short side story that takes place between the original film of 2019 and part 2, which I'm officially going to try to do next year. I was sitting there contemplating for 2 years, do I want to waste money on a short film, or do I want to hold that short film and spring it into the second one? Like, don't even waste time. And this came down to with the way my life is in the real world right now. I'm like, I'm not ready to take the feature on, a.k.a. if I have to end up funding the whole rest of it myself. I just wasn't ready. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I got an idea for a side story. Why don't I just put it out there on YouTube, kind of do a scissor rail to connect the first film to the second film, to kind of basically, the film's been out since 2019, folks. So you can definitely say it. People that know it, but it's also a little dormant. So I'm just trying to add a little bit more spike to that first film, to Rogue, to part 2, which I'm trying to get to, and then So technically, I like to say it's like I think I'm the first person that I know of that made a side story sequel to their first film, but isn't officially the sequel. It's a short story. So I'm trying something here.
Yeah, that short story to Dark Military Rogue left a cliffhanger, man. You got me wanted to see what was going to happen. You wanted more, just how you ended it. I was like, no.
Well, that's good. I honestly, I've had these stories. I have all the stories. I have 3 stories in my head. So, I understand the characters. I mean, I made them. But, I'm very big on when Sean S. Cunningham started the Jason franchise, and then John Carpenter started Michael Myers and all that, they invented this property. And they were Damien Leone, who does Terrifier. He understands, because it's his, they understand, because it was their property, what the characters would do and not do. And the second they sold Jason and Michael to he let it go, everything went off the rails, because you could bring any scriptwriter on and ask for the background and say, okay, all right, here's what they're going to do next, and that's where the fans know, that character wouldn't do that. Why is that character doing that? We were fed it was this way, so it's you can't trick the horror movie fans. They just know. So as long as I'm driving this ship, I know where these characters need to lead to, and I'm just want to get them there. And I'm just working on getting this franchise off the ground more, because as I got way more layers to go here. It's got an audience, but I also know where the ceiling is on that, and I'm trying to lift that to the ceiling I'm trying to get to.
So, how'd you come up with the Dark Military and your character Barabbas?
So, not sponsored by Ultra, but all right. So, I've been alone for a long time. When I living alone, I've also been at work. I've always taken jobs where I work by myself. I'm very comfortable in silence, but that's where I do my best thinking. And I started coming up with the concept. And Barabbas is definitely an offspring of myself, which lies beneath, we all have that fantasy character. You can definitely tell I have a wrestling background. The way I talk, it's almost like wrestling promos. But I kept saying, we haven't had a group since the Firefly family. And I was like, all right. And it just popped in my head. I saw shadow images in my head, but I saw 6 or 7 characters. I saw some girls there too, and I was just like, what am I seeing? But I eventually started piecing a story together. And I like the idea of what goes on well, not really, but I like the idea of taking a page of some horrible stuff that happens on the dark web. Where would you find people like this? And I also kind of like the idea of there's a little bit of sprinkle of even like the strangers of like, don't ever take your mask off. No one wants to know who you are. We want to stick with the eeriness of like, why are they doing this? And like, we don't want to see, like, seriously, folks, if I was in a movie and I'm playing any character and I have to take my mask off, you saw this, is it really stunning? It's just not going to work. So I'm very big on, I don't want to expose so much of the background of the characters. You just want to know who's the guy running it. And that's where the idea of the general came in. And I like the concept of you could hire people from the dark web to do anything. They put a mask on for a few hours, get paid handsomely, and those people could take the mask back off and walk among you. I just think it's like a scary thing for society. I also like that all except for the character of Kane, which, I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go with, that they're human. I think we've had enough supernatural characters of dropping an anvil on Jason's head, I'm just paraphrasing, and running, and no matter what, they're going to keep getting up. I like the idea, like, they can be killed. They're just people like me, you and I, but I also like the idea of, like, they're trained soldiers. Pain doesn't really exist to them, so you better bring your A game if you're going to try to stop them. But, everything's mapped out through a general's plan, and they have fun doing it. And, the franchise kind of calls out flaws in other horror movies and stuff. Like, they kind of break the fourth wall at certain points. So I had an idea. I ran with it. I brought it to life. This is the, second short story, but / second installment of the franchise. And I'm hoping it helps. And I'm hoping the fans enjoy.
Yeah, I also learned too, you never go in a black van with the windows covered in black. You never go into the van. That gives you a creepy feeling because you don't know what's going to happen. And some of these characters who think they're having a fun Halloween survival fest out in the middle of the woods weren't really actually knowing they were really going to get killed by the dark military, which was through the dark web, and they were filming this live, going after their prey. And they were just so naive and just went into a van they're not familiar with.
And is one of the reasons, as you're talking about the first film here, one of the first things Barabbas says is like, what were you doing? Like, he calls them out, like, the windows are blocked out, like, really? Like, you guys basically, like, threw away your being cautious over free beer, like you dumb idiots. So, so there was a lot of things that got called out. I also like that it's really hard to tell, like, your audience, like, this is scary. This is going to make you jump. Because each individual, some things are scary, some are not. People that are really part of this, that are diehard horror fans, I don't think they get scared by anything. So that's where I added, like, a little bit of the humor in there.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be like, this is a scary movie. Yes, it is. You can't do that. You have to have a little bit of a balance, a little bit for everyone. So that's why, like, Barabbas is, particularly his dialogue, it's funny. Like, when he goes on his rants, he take him very seriously, but, like, some of the vocabulary that comes out, I could see why people, like, break out laughing, like, oh my God, what did he just say? So I try to roll with that, and I try to make each character totally different. Like, totally different vocabulary, like, this one may not play around, this one's trying to have a little bit of fun. Like, you got to put out a product where the audience could kind of cling, which is what I'm trying to do with, because there's a lot of dark military members. Like, I cling to this character because this character speaks to me. You're trying to represent and grab everybody.
Yeah, now let's talk about Gina Marie Schwull, who played Jezebel. She was my favorite. She was nice, but also deadly. I mean, she was my fave of the dark military group, man. She knew how to take care of business and also knew how to have fun, and I love some of her comical scenes in the film too.
Yeah, I said I wanted to have a couple girls in there, and I wanted to. One of the things I get a lot when girls say they want to be in a horror movie with me, they're just like, "Can I be in a movie? I want to be a bad guy." I'm like, "You weigh 105 pounds and you don't have an ounce of athletic muscles." I was like, these girls got to look the role. So that's why I picked two different girls, like Gina Marie Scholl for Jezebel. She's got a little bit of a built to her, but she's very beautiful. I was like, she's going to be the one that's going to be more of the diva, the one that's having fun. And then I had Vita Von Starr, who was also she wasn't at the time, but became a professional wrestler in Ring of Honor. She played Delilah, and she's I think she's beautiful too and all, but she's got the trap muscles and the form of yeah, I don't want to mess with this girl, but I wanted that. I wanted two different girls that are completely different personalities, but I never liked in a horror movie where a girl doesn't have some sort of athletic build to her that's killing people. It's always not sunk because I'm just kind of well, you're 105 pounds. I just don't believe when you charge a football player, you can get it done. But if you show you're an athlete and show some, athleticism and some mass, I'm I get that. I get this now. That's cool,
Also, let's talk about the cook, man. He was crazy and funny, and I love how he popped up in certain scenes, like with the Dark Military and also the supporting actors in the film. He was all popping out of the middle of nowhere, just being obnoxious.
Yeah, so I said I gotta have one character that's not an official member, but rolls with them. And I was just I knew the actor Dave is played the role of the cook's played by the actor Dave Ferrier, and as soon as I was writing it, I'm he's my cook. He has to say yes. I don't see anybody else taking the role. And as soon as when I approached him, he's well, hell yeah. And I had to basically not even direct the guy. I explained the character to him. He did exactly what I needed. And he was literally created for comic relief. And a lot of people that watch that movie, they always say his character steals the show. He's in it just enough. He pops up in and out. And especially at the end of the movie, when Barabbas is giving this huge dominant speech.
Yeah.
He comes in, and I remember when I wrote that, everybody laughed, but there were some people who were concerned. They're I think he's going to deflate that, but he's going to deflate the momentum. And I'm I get what you're saying. I was I'm going to put it in, and if I don't like it, I won't use it in the final edit. And it flowed so good. I was no. I was when I did the test screenings, everybody just died laughing, so hard. I'm that's staying. And the fact that, Barabbas they're all embarrassed and they just right back to the speech. There's nothing you can do. But you also kind of feel the character that they love the character. He's untouchable. They couldn't even think of, the pet, the mascot, they couldn't even think of. He can't even get meat cleavered in any way. It just can't happen.
Yeah. I like the ending, but another thing, I like the twist what you did towards the ending, where you had a betrayal. That threw a big loop in towards the ending when you found. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but that whole betrayal, man, that was shocking.
The shock. You're talking about the first film, the
yeah.
Whole, yeah, and that's where I know what you're talking without. For anyone who needs to see my first film, Dark Military, you can watch it for free on Tubi right now. You can just pull it right up, or Sumo Movieplex has it. But there was a reason I wrote the character of Nelson was basically to hide any idea of anyone thinking this person could, because Nelson kind of comes in halfway through the movie, and everyone was "Where's this guy been?" I didn't see him before. I was he was written to protect the character you're talking about.
Yeah, now let's talk about Dark Military Rogue. You said earlier on the podcast, you said both films flow. So when we go, to Rogue, it starts a different story. Before Halloween, and
Yep.
we talk. It talks about Carter, who runs away and hides his old self, his old history, starts anew. So when you did this, was this before the Dark Military movie in 2019, or was it like little afterwards, or was it like between?
So honestly, Rogue was written maybe about a year ago. Like that might be too long. I might have written that like 8 months ago. So when I told you I was torn about, do I do the sequel?
Yeah.
Or do I do the short? So like a year ago, I didn't even have Rogue because I was like, well, why even waste time writing anything, Loren? I'm saying to myself, I'm like, don't write anything. Like, don't waste your time. Don't just write this short and shelf it. So I left it alone, but then I kept thinking, like, how could I shoot an entire short on a weekend? And one thing I'm really good at, where my strong point is I'm very good at getting locations very close to each other. And when I vision Rogue, I'm like, we're going to do this all in one location. And I'm just like, here's my requirements. I ended up talking to my producer, Doug, and I said, here's what I'm looking for. He literally called me back in 10 minutes with like several places. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? and I worked something out with the owner, and it was great. And I got my cast. How I make a movie is, there's so many people like, this is my DP, this is my cast, everything else has got to get built around it. I'm a little different because I eat, breathe the indie world, and I know so many DPs, so many freaking actors, and that could do anything, everything, the gaffers, the effects people. I know so many. So what I do is I get my locations and my budget, and then I book the dates, and then I go after my actors. And I basically say, here's the price, here's the date. If you can't do these dates, I can't use you. I did that for the first Dark Military. I said, I need you guys, some of them up to a full week. The first Dark Military was shot 8 straight days. So not everyone was needed every day, but the main cast, yes. So I said, like, here's the dates. If you can't do one of these, I can't use you. I love you, but, like, let me know. And that's how it is. So, because once you got the money and you got the locations locked down, you don't want to sound mean, but everyone else is expendable.
Yeah.
So I realize it's usually the other way around, but that's how I work. Yeah. So once I got the location and all that, I was just like, we're going to do this. And honestly, it flowed very well. My sets are normally do. My cast and crew eat very well. I'll say that. So we had really another awesome display. Everyone was good spirits. I also I've said this like a broken record with the last film, but when you're on a movie set, make sure you know who you're bringing on. These are all people that I know, but you got to vision like personalities when the cameras aren't rolling. Are these actors going to get along? Is someone going to be too loud? Is someone going to be chasing the girls? Is one of the girls going to be so loud she's making everyone feel uncomfortable? Make sure you know who you're bringing in, and I did. And again, like back-to-back films, I did really well. But because I've learned from other films, I've seen people that never met, and as soon as they're off camera, they start arguing, and now you got tension the rest of the flick. So I know that's like us. Actually, that's the first part before the talent of what they can bring to the table. I need to know their personality, and do I envision them with the others that things don't go kaplunk.
Yeah, I noticed in the first movie, The Dark Military, there was a lot of slit kills. You would see the slit kill, and then once we're getting ready to go for the kill, the camera turns away from the kill. Is that like for us to think in our head, our imagination, what happened, because I noticed that you see the kill, and then right before the big kill, the camera slants away. Was that?
Okay, so your answer is, I got two parts of the answer here. Okay. If you look at the very first Friday the 13th,
yeah,
half of those kills were off camera.
Yeah.
The other half were on camera, and they really bloodied them up because it was low budget.
Yeah.
That trickles downhill. So the first Dark Military, there are 26 kills. And you're right. I don't know the number, but 8 or 9 of them are off camera.
Yeah.
Because anyone who knows horror movies, the kills slow down the film. I did not have the budget for red cams, DPs going at the same time to get all this coverage. I had to get the movie done. There were some written that were off kill, but there were more that were supposed to. I was supposed to beef it up, and we're like, "Yo, we're out of time. Break the neck. Get him out of there." Like, meat cleaver to the freaking lens and end it. Like sometimes, but I mean, there were some in there. But I have been brought. That's been brought to my attention, and that's the answer. Like I have to own up to it. But I also say, like, the budget I had, the quality of film it is.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. But like for anyone who's like, well, it's not like the Saw movies. Like, yeah, they're a $10 million film. Dude.
Yep.
Like that was over the course of 40 days. I did this in 8 days. So I stand by it. I also can't dismiss when people bring that to my attention. No, I have to take it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people want to watch indie horror films. A lot of them who's never watched an indie horror film has to realize there's sometimes where you're not going to have enough money to do certain things, and they think they're going to go in and watch like a great like $10 million blockbuster horror film, not realizing, it's hard to make an indie film. It's hard to get the money. And there's sometimes where you have to improvise on certain stuff where you can't do a certain scene. And when people complain about, oh, this indie movie's not good, it's like, dude, it's an independent film. You don't know what the writer and the director went through to make this film. It's okay to critique it, tell what you liked or didn't like about, but you should never slam a film and a filmmaker for making their film.
Without a doubt. I back you up on that. I will also say, and firsthand because you've seen Rogue, which anyone can watch Dark Military Rogue. I should have plugged up front, but anyone can watch the Dark Military Rogue for free on YouTube right now. Put those words in, the Dark Military Rogue. It's 23 minutes long, but you can watch it on YouTube for free. But because you just saw it, but in Rogue, we don't skip out into violence.
Nope.
No. And I made sure, I was just like, I'm going to do 2 things that make sure that sticks out for anyone who's like looking for that. Like, oh, would he skip out again? No. We brought it, especially the very last one.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, I just love indie horror. I also like regular genres and independent film too. That's where the heart and soul, where everything starts, and I'm a strong supporter of it. I mean, I've seen some like really bad ones, but I'm not gonna slam on the the filmmaker or anything like that. I mean, I'll do an honest review, but Dark Military Rogue, I really enjoyed the short. I thought it was good. I loved the whole, the grassiness of like watching the old VHS tape with, and of course I love, because you just did practical effects. I'm not a big CGI guy.
Not at all.
Yeah, I like the practical effects in the film. And then you got me wanting to know who the general is. I've been trying to, after I watched Rogue, I'm still trying to figure out who the general is, and, I'm trying to picture his face, is he like an AI, or is he human, or supernatural?
Is he female? Is what country is he from? Yeah, we're all gonna have to wait on that for now. But I'm very happy you like Rogue. I think most people will. I think it was intense.
It was
beautifully edited, beautiful score. It's shot in 6K, which was a whole other issue. But and what I mean by that is that elaborate. There's a lot of editors that can't do 6K. It's just too much bandwidth on their computer and stuff, and the files are too big. So I was a little naive, thinking I was just going to find someone right offhand, but I found someone, the editor Dan up in New York, who also just recently cut the trailer for the Levy brothers for the movie Stream. It's the same exact editor. He did the trailer for Stream. So Dan's a great guy. He's solid. I highly recommend him, folks. Like he's good. He's out of New York.
Especially you also worked behind the scenes with ECW back in the day when wrestling was cool.
The best.
Yeah. So when you were working behind the scenes at ECW, did you learn a lot from the editing and filming process as well?
What I was doing from 97 until doors closed, I did several jobs. One, I was helping up. I never worked and got a paycheck from Paul Heyman. I never spoke a word to Paul Heyman. But people that booked the buildings and did all the advertising. So the advertising. You got your time thing there, but advertising ends up was back in the day physically getting flyers because the 90s, going to colleges and anywhere like sporting events, and hey, wrestling's coming to town. Like, hey, come check us out. So I did a lot of groundwork, and I also learned this helped me huge for being running my company, Average Superstar Films. Of now, like this has to happen in 3 hours. There's no excuse. Like you have to be at this particular place and get the job done. And you could say like an excuse, and they'd be like, "So is today your last day?" That'd just be the answer. So today's your last day. Be like, no, I'll be there. You just go boom, and you find a way. And that's part of my like now attitude that never went away. And also like, if you're not going to drive the car, I will pull you out of the car and drive it myself. Like it's just a mentality. I'm a workhorse. So I did that with the promotion. Randy Holt, who was the sound guy, wherever he was within reach, I helped load him in almost like a roadie. That was like one of my others. You did a lot of the little tiny jobs, but you also got to see how the big things were being done, even from a distance. And honestly, guys, that was like the greatest time. I was at every ECW arena show from like early mid 97 till the doors closed, including the last show. I was at every Living Dangerously there ever was. I met a lot of good friends out of there. There's definitely a lot of wrestlers from that company I never spoke a word to in my life. I'm not going to act like, everybody knew everybody or every single person gave me respect. But, it was an amazing time. I was so happy to be a part of it. It definitely hugely shaped me going forward when I got the film.
All right, so where can everybody find you on social media and your projects?
I'm only on 2 platforms. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Just look me up, Loren W. Lepre. You can also check out my website, AverageSuperstarFilms.com. I literally have, between my film festivals, my wrestling, all my film stuff, guys, every interview I've ever been part of, you can find out on my YouTube page, Average Superstar TV, along with my weekly podcast that drops every Monday. Average Superstar TV on YouTube. I swear, if you go there, you'll see a lot of good stuff. Please hit that subscribe button. And most importantly, check out the Dark Military Rogue for free on YouTube. And check out check out the Dark Military and my previous movie, Pennsylvania Hardcore. You can check that out for free on Tubi.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, bud.
Yeah.